Off. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about imperial measurement. In Canada, it's law. We're supposed to be using the metric system, and most of the world uses the metric system. But the state still uses imperial, and so do we often. In fact, we're a nation that's caught in between two measurement systems. So imperial measurement is an older measurement. Metric is newer, and we need to be able to work in both. So some key concepts. Some of the basic units of the imperial measure are listed below. So when we're talking about length and distance, we're going to be talking about things like foot, inch, yard, and miles. When we talk about mass and weight, we're going to be talking about pounds, ounces, and tons. Volume, we're going to be talking about fluid ounces, cups, gallons, and pints. And temperature, we talk about Fahrenheit, and that's a big difference too, right? Because in Canada, we talk about Celsius. And again, we tend to flip back and forth when we're doing things. I find even more so now with the internet, if you're getting any information, if it's coming from someone that's using imperial, you might get it from someone using metric, and it flip-flops, so you really have to know the difference. There are fixed relationships among the different units of length, volume, and weight. A conversion chart is listed below. So here's a conversion chart that we can sort of use. And what it's going to tell us is that 1 foot is 12 inches. Now, let me tell you something, kids. I suggest you memorize that. That's a big one in life. It really, really is. 1 foot, 12 inches, pretty important. I use it lots and lots and lots. 1 yard is 3 feet. That's a pretty important one too. Now the problem is yards, we don't use a whole bunch up here. We use meters. But when we do talk about a yard, it's important to know that it's 3 feet. A mile. A mile is going to be 1,760 yards. So think about that. How many feet is that? How many feet per yard? 3. So this is going to be 1,760 yards times 3 feet. So a mile is 5,280 feet. How many inches is that? Well, how many inches in a foot? 12. So I times by 12. That's 63,000 inches in a mile. Who cares? Who would ever want to know that? But, you know, there you go. That's how many inches there are in a mile. A pound. Pretty important to know this one. It's 16 ounces. Okay, a pound. And I'm telling you, when you go to the grocery store and you try to buy something like meat or fish or something like that, they have it by the kilogram and they have it by the pound. And it gets confusing. And sometimes, I'm going to say this, sometimes some stores will put it in the one that makes it look cheaper. And that's not fair. And if you don't know what you're buying, you could end up with an awful lot of something. A ton is 2,000 pounds. That's crazy. I almost bought a rock for my front yard this summer, and it was 2,500 pounds. It was over a ton. I didn't buy it. I couldn't get it there. I didn't know how to get it there. Didn't buy it. Bought a tree instead, little tiny tree, planted it. It was easy. It'll grow. There you go. It'll grow. All right, gallon. This is important. 1 gallon is 4 quarts, 8 pints, and 128 fluid ounces. 1 quart is 2 pints. 1 pint is 16 fluid ounces, blah, blah, blah. This is important. 1 cup is 8 fluid ounces. This one you'll use. And this one you'll use. Okay, so let's take a look. How to use the chart? Well, if I have a foot and I want to go to inches, you sort of have to say to yourself, which one's bigger? The foot's bigger, right? So there's going to be more inches than there is in a foot. So for each foot, there's going to be 12 inches. So for every foot, we're going to multiply by 12 to get the number of inches. But you sort of have to go through that logic. Which one's bigger? Which one's smaller? So if I give you the inches, and I'm going to go to the foot, I need to divide by 12. So if I have 12 inches, that's going to be 1 foot. If I have 24 inches, that's going to be 2 feet. But again, you got to sort of go through that logic. 1 yard is 3 feet. And again, these are the major ones. These are really important. So 1 yard is 3 feet. Each yard you multiply by 3. If you have feet, you divide by 3 to get your yards. Okay, so convert the following units of measure. So I've got 3 feet I want to convert it to inches. So I'm going to go up here, and I notice that 1 foot is 12 inches. So every foot is going to be 12 inches. So if I take 3 feet and multiply it by 12 inches for every foot, I get 36 inches. Okay? And that's the way we do that. It's not so hard. We're going to flip. Ounces to pounds. Ounces to pounds. So we're going to take a look. 1 pound is 16 ounces. I just had someone walk in, so I'm going to motion for them to come up and pick up a lesson sheet. So I've got, I'm sorry, where am I? Right here. Yep. Oh, we need one over here too, and handing in a test. That's wonderful. Good. So ounces to pounds, back over here, sorry. 1 pound is 16 ounces. So I've got the ounces. I need to divide that by 16 to get the number of pounds. Okay, because every 16 ounces is 1 pound. So 112 divided by 16 is going to be 7 pounds. And you know what the short form for pounds is, right? LBS. I don't know why. I have no idea. We could Google that if we really cared. I don't at the moment. I will when I'm done the lesson. But the short form for pounds is LBS. Gallons to fluid ounces. So again, I'm going to look back. Gallons. 1 gallon is 4 quarts, 8 pints, or 128 fluid ounces. Okay, so that's a lot of ounces in a gallon. But you should know that. Have you ever seen a gallon jug? They're fairly big, right? They're about, you can't see my hands. I'll bring in a gallon jug tomorrow, and we'll take a look at it. And an ounce is just like a little tiny ounce, a little shot glass, if you will. Okay, those little tiny cups. So 25 gallons, fluid ounces. So how much was it? 128. So I've got 25 gallons. Each gallon is 128 fluid ounces. That's going to be a big number. 3,200 fluid ounces. And I think the short form for ounces is OZ. Am I right? Yep, there it is. So fluid ounces. I guess we could put the fluid. There is a difference. There's ounces that is a weight measurement, and there's ounces that is a volume measurement. So it does make sense to put in the fact that these are fluid ounces. And that's what that stands for. So fluid ounce. And again, OZ instead of from O-U-N-C-E. I don't know. I don't get it, but there it is. And again, you got to be careful with ounces in the imperial because there's a weight measurement for ounces and there's a volume, a liquid measurement. 0.025 tons to ounces. Okay, well, I'm going to have to do some work here. I'm going to have to go from tons to pounds and then pounds to ounces. I'm going to have to do a double, right? I'm going to have to take the tons to pounds and then pounds to ounces. It's going to be a double trick. So, tons to pounds. So 1 ton was how many pounds? 2,000 pounds. So don't have a full ton. I've got a fraction of a ton. And that's going to be times 2,000 pounds. So that's a ton. That's how much of a ton I have. So this is how many pounds I'll have. 50. So I've got 50 pounds. And again, it's pounds and it's LVS for the units. Again, not sure why, but that's what it is. Yep.
Are we expected to write the abbreviation or can we write the full?
You can do both.
Okay.
Yeah. You should know both because you're going to run them into them in life. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I've got it to pounds. Now I need to go to ounces, right? And so I'm going to look over. Now this is weight ounces, mass, not volume. So it's not a fluid ounce. It's a weight ounce. Each pound is 16 ounces. So I've got 50 pounds times each one of those gives me 16 ounces. 800. And it's OZ. And again, I don't know why it's OZ for the short form for ounces. But in this case, it won't be the fluid ounces. Okay, so you don't put the FL there. That would be wrong. I would actually take a mark off. And again, as someone in the studio audience has mentioned, if you don't want to use the short form, go right ahead. Put in the full word if you want. But you better be knowledgeable of both. Okay, I'm going to stop the video there, and we'll come back with the second example.